Allen Weisselberg, fiercely loyal to Donald Trump, I should note. But I think one thing we forget about, which the New York Times noted tonight, is that he got a $2 million severance package that required him not to cooperate with any law enforcement investigation unless he was legally required.
That was stunning to me. I've never heard of such a thing. I don't think that's enforceable to say you won't cooperate with law enforcement. I mean, it certainly undermines what prosecutors are trying to do.
You just watched CNN legal analyst Ellie Honig get blown away, and rightfully so, by a clause in former Trump Organization CFO Allen Weisselberg's severance deal, which would have prevented him from cooperating with law enforcement in the contract so that he could receive his severance. Now, in October, Forbes reported that Weisselberg lied under oath when he testified about figures he gave regarding the size of the Trump Tower penthouse. From that article, as part of the potential agreement with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, Weisselberg would have to admit that he lied on the witness stand in Trump's recent civil fraud trial. Now, Weisselberg also would have to say that he lied under oath during an interview with the New York Attorney General's office, which is what brought the civil fraud case in the first place. Apparently, it wasn't really up to Weisselberg if he wanted to keep his severance. It's so ridiculous, but here's the clause in the severance package. A clause in the $2 million severance package Weisselberg received from the Trump Organization seeks to prohibit him from cooperating with law enforcement unless he is legally required to do so. However, like Ellie Honig said at the beginning, that provision is so likely unenforceable because it undermines pretty much every policy analysis you could do of contract law. But it's possible Judge Arthur Engoron, who's the judge presiding over the case, who Trump has had frequent fights with throughout the trial and after, could also withhold a ruling in the matter, given that Weisselberg may have lied on the stand. Gorin already issued a summary judgment in September, finding the Trump Organization and its officers liable for fraud. He is currently mulling whether to fine the company the $370 million that New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking. So Weisselberg's ruling wouldn't really matter. But Cenk, it is so funny, so funny that they would include that. And I'm sure he's not the only person who's received a severance package from a shady organization or big business entity that says something to this extent. But I couldn't agree more that it's not going to be enforced. It wouldn't be enforced. You can't require someone to not cooperate with law enforcement officers in a contract.
Look, you're actually being way too generous. There's no chance that's enforceable. That's the most illegal thing to write in a contract ever. I run a company. If somebody said to me, hey, can we put in a contract that we're gonna give somebody a severance payment, but as long as they don't talk to the cops? Like, our lawyers would be like, are you insane? No, of course you can't put that in a contract. And guys, think about it. Look, MAGA, you're hopeless, but independence, right? Like, why would you have to put into a contract, hey, I'll give you $2 million if you don't talk to the cops? If you were innocent, do you think you'd put that into a contract? Come on. Trump said like so many times in the past, if you take the Fifth Amendment, that means you're guilty. And then he, in earlier depositions, took the Fifth Amendment.
Hundreds of times.
Like that's right, hundreds of times. And so why would you even need this provision? So look, it's super obvious. He's basically saying snitches get stitches. But if you don't snitch on me, I'll give you $2 million. But okay, pretend he's innocent if you like.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most ridiculous man ever. He really is. It's like the more I look at him, the more it's like, because we have to look at him more than pretty much everyone else who isn't just like a politics nerd or something. And it's like, how is this man a real human being? I mean, whether it's the clause in there where, as you pointed out, unless you're just a total crook, there's no point in putting a clause in there. And why would you even think it would work? I mean, this dude's whole defense isn't that he's innocent, it's that he should just be let off from everything that he did. I mean, that's his whole thing with these 91 indictments. Well, at first, if saying I'm innocent doesn't work, then say, a president has to have total immunity for everything they do, even if it crosses boundaries, because unless that happens, a president will find themselves in the same situation I'm in now, as if we haven't had hundreds of years in this country of presidential elections. If there weren't, as if it wasn't 40-something presidents before him. But again, as you pointed out, it'll never get through to MAGA. And the interesting thing, lastly, about that, no matter what happens in this election, Republicans are never, the right wing in this country is never gonna shut up about Donald Trump, at least not in our lifetimes. We're gonna be hearing about this dude forever and how things were so unfairly taken from the movement. So, we just gotta keep on getting ready for that.
I just love that they tagged on that little line at the end of the clause that says, he's prohibited from cooperating with law enforcement unless he is legally required to do so. As if that was gonna, because for anyone who doesn't know, a contract can't require you, it can't prohibit you from doing something that you're legally obligated to do, and it also can't require you to do something that is illegal. It can, but it won't be enforceable. So it's like they just tag this little line on the end, like, okay, well then it'll be good. Then it's fine. Then surely this will be enforced. But we'll sneak it past the judge.
Right, but to both of your points, hey, dumbass, if you're gonna say unless he legally has to, then why'd you put it in there in the first place? You're just putting like a sign, big neon sign says, look here. And we're definitely breaking the law and we're putting it into a contract for no reason because we're dumb. Okay, that's Donald Trump.
Cartoon characters. As you said before, what do you call him? The dumbest man in America?
Yeah.
He really is, man. He's incredible.
Since it's not enforceable, and the last part of the sentence, it gets rid of the meaning of the first part of the sentence, why'd you put it in? Why? Because I'll guarantee you, they were not gonna put it in, and Trump insisted on, but he's gotta know. He's gotta know if he wants a 2 million, he can't talk to the cops, okay? That's how it's gotta be. Put it in there, I want it in there. Okay, dumbass. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.